Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon video. So, while watching episode 3 of Aim to be a Pokemon Master, Primeape's Japanese name, which is shown in the opening theme, caught my eye. Since I know a fair bit of Japanese due to my many years of watching anime with subtitles, I was able to understand what this name means, and it struck me just how literal of a name it is. I then remembered that this is not odd, because while in Japanese, some Pokemon have names that are the same as their English names, or ingenious puns using the Japanese pronunciation of English words, or just straight up modification of English words, a lot of them have names in Japanese that are extremely literal and or uncreative. Oftentimes, just naming Pokemon after exactly what they are. Like naming a dog, dog. Or just naming the Pokemon after something that characterizes them or their typing. This is in stark contrast to the way things are in English, where pretty much every Pokemon that does not have the same name they do in Japanese have a name that is either a clever pun or an inventive play on words, which are almost always a massive improvement over the Japanese name, even if sometimes they can be facepalm inducing. So I thought that it would be fun to go over the Japanese names of several Pokemon that are extremely literal and or uncreative. Here are 10 of my favorites in no particular order. What better Pokemon to begin with than with the Pokemon that inspired me to make this video, Primeape. Its Japanese name is Okorisaru, which means angry monkey. Yeah, what better name for a monkey that is always furious than angry monkey? But hey, it could have been worse. Since Primeape is the big monkey Pokemon, they could have been even more literal by calling it Okoributasaru, which means angry pig monkey. Next, we have Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, whose Japanese names are, get this, Furisa or Freezer, Sanda or Thunder, and Faya or Fire, respectively. I know, right? Extremely creative for sure. Especially Thunder and Fire. Because of course, the best names for a Thunderbird and a Firebird are Thunder and Fire without a doubt. Freezer is a little better than these two, even if it is also the name of a certain Dragon Ball Z villain. But it's not that much better. Also, I decided to count these three as one just for the sake of variety. Next up is Jolteon, who is a great follow-up to Zapdos, since Jolteon's Japanese name is Sandasu or Thunders, while Zapdos' Japanese name is, like I stated earlier, Sanda or Thunder. So these two basically have the same name. The difference is just one letter in English and two in Japanese. One is just a singular, while the other is plural. And they are both equally uncreative, since they are just taken from the typing of the Pokemon in question. Next is Rapidash, whose Japanese name is Gyaropu, meaning gallop. Because you know, it's a horse, and horses gallop. So why not, right? It's a perfectly adequate name for it. Now of course, it could have been worse. They could have just called it horse. Next, we have Sandshrew, whose Japanese name is Sando, which means sand. Like just plain old sand. Now I know that its English name is quite literal as well, and not that different, since they just added shrew to it, which is what Sandshrew is based on. But hey, at the very least, they tried a little harder. Next up is Krabby, whose Japanese name is Kurabu, which is crab. So they just called it what it is. Nothing more and nothing less. And sure, its English name is not revolutionary. But again, they did at least make some effort. Next is Clink, whose Japanese name is Gyaru. No, not that Gyaru, which is spelled with Y instead of I. This Gyaru means gear, so they called the gear Pokemon, who is literally a gear, Gear. I surely don't have to tell you that it does not get any more literal and uncreative than this. Next, we have Charmeleon, whose Japanese name is Lizardo, meaning lizard. I am sure that I don't need to say anymore, right? Now sure, Charizard's Japanese name is Lizardon, so the difference is pretty much just one letter. But at least, Lizardon is a combination of lizard and dragon, or of lizard and don, a common suffix for dinosaur names. So it's a mite more creative than just lizard. Next up is Kakuna, whose Japanese name is Cocoon, which of course means cocoon, which of course is exactly what Kakuna is. And yeah, Kakuna is derived from cocoon, but Kakuna is still a more imaginative name than just straight up calling it cocoon. And finally we get to my favorite of this bunch, and easily the winner of most creative name ever, Haunter, whose Japanese name is Gosuto, meaning of course ghost. This one is pretty self-explanatory, right? Especially after going over all the others. Now you might be wondering why this one is my favorite and the most creative one, when we also have examples like Crab the Crab and Gear the Gear. Well, what gives Haunter the edge is that its naming sense runs in the family, since Ghastly's Japanese name is Gosu, which also means ghost, so they are both just called the Ghost. They simply omitted the last syllable with Ghastly in order to make it so that they don't have the exact same name, which would of course be confusing and silly. Also, I find it amusing that this evolutionary family goes from Gosu to Gosuto to Gengar. So at least, at the end, they fixed it. But that's everything I have for you in this video. Again, I had this idea out of the blue, and I thought that it would make for a fun video. So hopefully, it was. Now, while this could just be a one-off video, if it does well, and it is well received, then I could definitely do another one. I could also branch out from this idea to cover some of the categories I mentioned at the start, such as Pokemon whose Japanese names are the same as in English, or clever puns using the Japanese pronunciation of English words. So yeah, do let me know what you thought of the video in the comments down below. Also feel free to leave some of your examples of Pokemon with extremely literal and or uncreative Japanese names. I would love to learn some that I don't know, and I could even feature them in a follow-up video if I do decide to make one. But that's the video, as always. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.